Media at the moment is all about superheroes. The fight for what is right and wrong and still remaining strong after decades in the comic books. Though some people may find the current trend quite overdone, game developers at Insomniac think quite differently. Insomniac Games has come swinging at the right time of the superhero fatigue to bring one of the most engaging and thrilling experiences on the PlayStation 4 with one of the biggest names in comic books, Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. Insomniac seems to bring something new to this wall crawler that we've never experienced before in a superhero game, though feeling like a mesh of different games and clearly being inspired by previous titles such as the Arkham series, somehow being the superhero Spider-Man never quite felt this good. Hi, I'm Bailey from UnlockedGames, and here is our review of Marvel's Spider-Man. Now, I won't lie, I am and always have been a Spider-Man fan for as long as I can remember. I have seen many different variations of the web slinger that I don't think I can count them, and it's clear to see that Insomniac have done their homework, given a lot of detail to Peter and his world. Peter Parker has now been Spider-Man for a few years now, so no origins, no Uncle Ben stuff. We are immediately thrown into the life of Peter and Spider-Man. You'll be beating up thugs, stopping robberies, and beating up a few super individuals once in a while. On top, you are dealing with the everyday life of Peter, work demanding his time, and a complicated relationship with Mary Jane as she returns to the city. Insomniac has gone in lengths in this game to show how busy and complicated it could be to be a superhero, which usually turn out to be the best stories of Spider-Man. I won't go into details on the story in case you haven't experienced it for yourself, but I can definitely say it's one of the most memorable stories for Spider-Man in recent memory. Now, enough about him and Mary Jane, let's talk about Spider-Man's second biggest love, his city of New York. And it's easily one of the most beautiful sandboxes on the PS4. I found myself at times just walking the street and interacting with the strange and wonderful people of New York, with some memorable recurring characters. I got lost in the city, doing so many different side activities like catching pigeons that are loose, and finding the collectibles like Peter Parker's old school backpacks from his time when he first became Spider-Man. The characters and the world have history, and you can discover it by piece, though sadly I found some of the collectibles quite repetitive, and that the lack of a day and night cycle in the game. I would have enjoyed to see the world around me change as I swung from one side of the city to the other. Insomniac have littered the city with so many Easter eggs that a Marvel fan like myself left me giddy and excited. Though I found something from the city was still lacking to really draw me in. But the side activities like attacking a warehouse in full stealth or beating up some convict stealing from a jewellery store was very entertaining and became one of the most memorable parts of the game. Gameplay is quite interesting as it mainly divides into two parts, the swinging mechanic and the fighting system. Both are done to very high quality. The combat relying on Spidey's gadgets and reaction times to deal with foes, going against many different variety of types of enemies that require different strategies to avoid. The game on the easiest difficulty doesn't throw much of a challenge, but any higher level like normal or hard really racks up the challenge, making every interaction and stealth mission quite tense. You need good reaction times and good strategy to deal with your targets. Gadgets can vary from shock punches or traps to help in stealth missions. It's also worth pointing out that all the different Spider-Man suits have different powers that can aid you in different situations. Thankfully, Insomniac give plenty of mobility with combat and the Spidey suits, but there are many different playstyles. It's actually quite shocking how many playstyles there are to their Spider-Man. Defeating the enemies also rewards Spidey with a skill point to spend on different combos and other useful skills. These skill points can also be used to add to the swinging mechanic, one of the most iconic parts of Spider-Man. I used to love and dream that I could swing along tall buildings like Spider-Man, and in this game is the closest I can get to that dream. You can really feel as Spider-Man is thrusted through the air, pulling himself across the wide and dense city. It's easily one of the most enjoyable experiences within the game, and the developers behind this system need extra praise for really nailing such an iconic thing of the character. I never got bored of this. Both of these will be the main systems of gameplay, besides the occasional side mission in the lab like hacking, but it's definitely not the main focus of the game. The swinging and combat, though very inspired by titles like Arkham and the old Spider-Man games of the early 2000s, has enough variety to feel brand new. Overall, I really enjoyed my time with Marvel's Spider-Man, even though I feel let down by the variety of activities. The gamers of old who loved and who was addicted to collectible systems found in games like Ratchet & Clank and Banjo-Kazooie will find enjoyment in this area, but for me, it wasn't enough to grab my attention. The strongest points are for sure the characters, story and gameplay. All of these are masterfully created by Insomniac and have created probably one of my favourite comic book games. I highly recommend anyone who enjoys sandbox games and owns a PlayStation to not miss out on this. After playing the game several times, I think I am certain on my viewpoint for this game, and giving it a solid 8 out of 10. Do you agree with me or do you not? Let's discuss this down in the comment section or on our website. I would love to hear what you guys think of this game. Thank you for listening to our review, and we hope to see you next time for another Unlocked Games review. Alright, this is Bailey, signing off.